Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question? I would like to ask my friend, Ms. Mace from South Carolina, whether she's aware of all the case law which says that the committee has to engage in good faith interaction with the witnesses they've called, and they're supposed to arrive at a solution. And what do you think about the fact that the chairman on multiple occasions gave this witness the opportunity to come before the full committee, and he agreed to that?
We issued a congressional subpoena, and I know with your constitutional law background, you know exactly what that means, and he should have showed up. And because of your vote and because of your statements, you should be voting to hold this man in contempt of Congress today, right now.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hot News Today, where we cut through the noise and hit the truth head on. And wow, the clip you just saw? That was peak congressional chaos, and right in the middle of the firestorm was Senator Nancy Mace, absolutely refusing to let the circus swallow the rule of law. Honestly, watching that moment, my first reaction was, finally, someone says exactly what everyone else is dancing around. Nancy Mace walked into that room like someone done with excuses, done with double standards, and definitely done with political privilege shielding anyone, including the president's son. The tension, the interruptions, the shouting, none of it fazed Nancy Mace. She stayed locked in, stayed sharp, and stayed on message. You're going to see in the full video just how chaotic it gets. But trust me, once we get to the end and I break down what happened, you'll understand why Nancy Mace stood out as the only adult in the room. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Hot News Today, and drop a comment if you think congressional subpoenas should apply to everyone equally. All right. Let's roll the full video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Comer. First of all, my first question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if
the ladies recognize...
If the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, my point of order is this. Are we going to continue on with this blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate. I intend to give my statement. I don't intend to have anybody interrupted. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just interrupted a woman.
And that's 5.
I got permission.
Can we agree? Everyone has
Mr.
5
Chairman,
minutes. Can we agree?
Point of order again. The assertion that I interrupted was absolutely false. That's typical of the gentleman who spoke it. I got permission to speak from the chairman. I spoke. I was interrupted yet again by the gentleman who doesn't choose to go through the chair and follow proper order. I encourage us. I think if we're going to have any respect at all, we need to have proper decorum.
Well said. Mace has 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all. The facts in this case are crystal clear. This committee used and issued a lawful subpoena to Hunter Biden, a critical witness in this committee's investigation into Biden family corruption. Hunter Biden and his lawyers did not claim privilege of any kind because clearly he has none. They didn't contest the legitimacy of our reasons for issuing the subpoena, no reasons, because they clearly are legitimate. And yet, he refused to comply. Trump's family members, Donald Trump Jr., he did not defy a congressional subpoena. He showed up multiple times for multiple depositions for several hours. In doing so, Hunter Biden broke the law. He did so deliberately. You did so flagrantly. You showed up on the Hill, on the Senate side, the day of that congressional subpoena to defy it and spit in the face of this committee. That's what you did. did. The question the American people are asking us is, what is Hunter Biden so afraid of? Why can't you show up for a congressional deposition? You're here for a political stunt. This is just a PR stunt to you. This is just a game that you are playing with the American people. You're playing with the truth. Hunter Biden wasn't afraid to sell access to Joe Biden to the highest bidder when he was in elected office. He wasn't afraid to trade on the Biden brand, peddle influence, and share those ill-gotten gains with members of his family, including Joe Biden. He wasn't afraid to compromise the integrity of the presidency and vice presidency by involving Joe Biden in shady business deals with our foreign adversaries. But Hunter Biden, you were too afraid to show up for a deposition. And you still can't today. I believe that Hunter Biden should be held completely in contempt. I think he should be hauled off to jail right now, because it wasn't long ago, too, my friends on the other side of the aisle, that you also believed in the power of a congressional subpoena. Not long ago at all. You believed in holding those who refused to comply with a congressional subpoena accountable. And I stood with each and every one of you. I am the only member in this room today who has held a member of my own party in contempt of Congress for not showing up for a subpoena. And I see nothing but complete hypocrisy on the other side of the aisle. The ranking member of this committee even so eloquently put it. The lesson is, please tell your children out there in America, if you get a subpoena to go before Congress, go. You have a legal responsibility to do so. So the hypocrisy is stunning. What are we to tell our children today? There's nothing the other side can say with a straight face. As the only member of this committee to vote to hold a member of contempt of my own party, let me be clear. This should not be a partisan issue. If Congress issues a subpoena, you show up, period. This is not a responsibility we take lightly. It brings no joy for us to do this, but the president's son broke the law and must be held accountable in the same way anybody else would. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do so. And my last message to you, Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question? Will the gentlelady yield? Will my friend yield from South Carolina?
Sure.
I do want to commend the gentlelady who was the only Republican who stood up and voted to hold in contempt the Republican members of the House who blatantly and categorically refused to comply with subpoenas that came from the bipartisan January 6th committee. I would like to ask my friend, Ms. Mace from South Carolina, whether she's aware of all the case law which says that the committee has to engage in good faith interaction with the witnesses they've called, and they're supposed to arrive at a solution. And what do you think about the fact that the chairman on multiple occasions gave this witness the opportunity to come before the full committee, and he agreed to that?
We issued a congressional subpoena, and I know with your constitutional law background, you know exactly what that means, and he should have showed up. And because of your vote and because of your statements, you should be voting to hold this man in contempt of Congress today, right now, if you're going to be consistent on your own policies and your own words.
Okay, now that we've watched that from start to finish, let's talk about it. Because what we just witnessed was one of the most combustible oversight committee moments in recent memory, and in that chaos, Senator Nancy Mace was the only one who stayed focused on the actual issue, accountability. First off, Nancy Mace didn't walk in there to play softball. She came in with a simple, cutting question. Who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That line hit like a brick through a window, because it called out the elephant in the room, the bizarre political theater around Hunter Biden's appearance. And look, whether someone likes Nancy Mace or not, the core of her argument was rock solid. A congressional subpoena is not optional. There's no, I don't feel like it. There's no, I'd rather show up on my terms. There's no, I'll stand outside for cameras but skip the deposition. Nancy Mace reminded everyone that day that the law applies equally, not selectively, not based on last names, not based on political affiliations. And the fact that some members tried to interrupt her, talk over her, derail the point, only made her message hit harder. When Nancy Mace pointed out that she is the only person on that committee who has held one of her own party members in contempt, that was the moment the room shifted. That was credibility. That was consistency. Because this isn't about left or right, this is about principle. She laid it out clearly. The committee issued a lawful subpoena. Hunter Biden did not contest it. Hunter Biden did not claim privilege. Hunter Biden simply refused to comply. And yet somehow, the outrage was directed not at the refusal, but at Nancy Mace calling it out? Make it make sense. Then we have the Democrat side scrambling to argue about decorum, tone, who interrupted who, whether someone had permission to speak. Meanwhile, Nancy Mace stayed locked on the main point. If everyday Americans must comply with the law, so should Hunter Biden. Her line, "You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes," absolutely summed it up. That wasn't pettiness. That was a warning shot to anyone who thinks Congress is a suggestion and not a governing body. And let's not forget when Hunter Biden's defenders tried to flip the narrative by saying, "Well, Hunter is here. We can hear from Hunter right now." Nancy Mace's entire point wasn't about a TV moment. It was about procedure, process, accountability. You don't get to rewrite the rules because you're the president's son. In a room full of shouting, excuses, and political maneuvering, Nancy Mace was the only person who didn't lose sight of the purpose of oversight. She brought the receipts. She kept her composure even surrounded by interruptions. And she demanded equal treatment under the law, even when it wasn't politically convenient. Whether someone agrees with Nancy Mace or not, it's undeniable. She was the strongest, clearest, and most fearless voice in that entire hearing. And that's exactly why her moment is blowing up right now.